Alright guys, you already know it's Mr. Extra here. Check out this dueling guard stuff, guys. Look at these boxes. They're just crazy. Look how crazy they look, guys. Now remember, promo code is Team Extra at checkout. Capital T, capital X, one word. Go save 5% checkout. Look at that Naruto box. We got Naruto. We have a new One Piece box. There is a new Shield Hero box. Look at that. Hunter x Hunter, Vegeta box. We even have a Sage mode box, guys. This is crazy. Like, this is some craziness, guys. Just look how good this stuff looks. I'm not joking. I'm going to keep talking them up. I'm going to keep gassing it up. It's just amazing, guys. Just look at that. Hunter x Hunter. They got everything here, guys. Just check them out. I'm telling you right now, check them out. These boxes only get better. There's more waves to come. There's the website. Go look them up. Tell them I sent you from Team Extra. How's it going, Mr. Extra from Team Extra? You already know what time it is. It's been a little while since we've done something like this over here at Team Extra, so we're going to go ahead and do it. So, let's talk about the current tier list for the meta as of right now. And this is like post YCS Indy, which, by the way, if you guys were there and you've seen me, love to see you guys come out and see us some more. We had a couple of boys there. Anyways, so let's get to it. As you can see, we got a bunch of candidates at the bottom, and then we're going to talk about them. Well, I'm going to talk about them. And I'm going to put you at where I think everything is right now based off statistics and from what I was just seeing personally. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get my first choice out of the way. Best deck. What do I think is going to be the best deck? Right now, personally, I think Rescue Ace is the strongest deck in the format right now, just because of the Diabell Star, which this right here is like Rescue Ace with Diabell Star. If Rescue Ace does not have Diabell Star, it's like Tier 1, Tier 2. But this was with the Diabell Star package. So basically, Rescue Ace had a very strong representation at the YCS, not to mention just pretty much as soon as Diabell Star came out, it just took off in popularity. But like most people have told me, TCG will mirror the OCG to a sense when it comes to what it becomes the meta or not, which is why like people over here pay so much attention to the people over at the OCG, so to speak, guys. So, best deck, I personally think, is Rescue Ace. It just does so much. It just does so much. Anyways, let's not dwell on this. So, we're going to go ahead and go in order. I just wanted to go ahead and get Rescue Ace out of the way first because I had a lot to say about that. Alright, so Solomon Great. Solomon Great right now is Tier 2. I say Tier 2 is, it's still good. It still has this OTK factor. It has an FTK factor as well, because if it's not pushing access code, it will drop out the big fusion, which I didn't even see that card until someone hit me with it at Indy, or YCS Indy, and it'll just OTK you that way. Pretty good. Still very, very good deck. Its consistency has increased with the newer fire cards that came out relatively recently in these last few sets. Not to mention, it's going to get a new Link monster to play with. That is a Link 2 Fire monster, and so is Rescue Ace. But technically, Solomon Great could play Diabell Star as well because they can use it to search for Solomon Great Fire. But overall, Tier 2, very good deck. Very, very good deck. Just needs the pilot who wants to big brain it enough. Alright, so this Finner here is Pure Cash. Pure Cash right now is Tier 2. I honestly think it's technically rogue, or I mean it's potential, because people can run it as like a control deck at this point. I still ended up playing against it at YCS myself. But still does what Cash does. It just doesn't make the big body. It's just big body rank 7 turbo. So a lot weaker. Still uses shifter. Shifters still pretty good this format. So I'm gonna put Tier 2 probably in front of Solomon Great though. Ironically enough here, guys. But Cash is still out there. It's kind of out there. It's kind of out there, guys. Alright, so let's move on. Vanquish Soul. I still think Vanquish Soul is good. It just got a new card that made it really good. I'm going to consider it as a Tier 2 as well. Better than Kashtira. Vanquish Souls new monster, helps with consistency, helps fix a couple issues that they currently had, right? So to speak. Don't quote me on that though. Overall, I think it's tier 2. I haven't played against it since it's got the new cards to it, because I know they use a new trap card and they have a new Vanquish Soul monster, but I mean the deck before was still pretty good in the hands of the right player, so to speak, guys. Alright, so Sprite. Sprite is tier 2 as well. I say tier 2, and I'm going to be very harsh about like my choices on this too. If y'all think otherwise, you know, leave a comment below, reason, whatnot. If I forgot certain decks to talk about, you can obviously just provide that in the comments too, and then I'll slide it in the next video when we do a tier list. But Sprite is tier 2, probably the very back of tier 2 so far. Sprite's still good. Sprite still does level 2 things, but there's a lot of stuff that just counteracts it. So right now, Sprite as a deck has to keep adapting like most decks, right? It just has to keep adapting and adapting, right? Just, it has to keep changing. It's just changing with the meta, so to speak. It's still pretty good. It still does its thing if you know, let it do what it wants. But I don't think it's very good right now. So tier 2, I wouldn't say potential because it kind of served its course, so to speak. But it still has some representation. Not anything super crazy though. It's still a pretty good deck. Infin Nobles. Infin Nobles as well. I feel like it could be tier 2 or it could be potential. Potential means it's above Rogue, but it's not tier 2. You need a really big 5-head to play this deck, in my opinion, so we're going to go ahead and put that as tier 2 as well. It loses really hard to draw, it loses hard to shifter, but I mean, if it goes completely on stop and it has all the gas, it's going to put up a board that's very, very hard to deal with, where it's a lot of really weird shenanigans, so to speak. It's still overall pretty good. Takes forever for them to do their turn. But it'll put up a board that'll more likely make you pick up your cards and get a game too, assuming like you let them play completely uninterrupted and you don't drop like Nib or Evenly or some crazy board breaker on them, so to speak. Alright, Scareclaw. Scareclaw right now, in my opinion, it's Rogue, but it could also be potential. Scareclaw, ironically, I feel like it will do still pretty good in this format because nothing says big middle finger like dropping out Tryhard, putting everything in defense mode, and then putting a bunch of little Scareclaws behind him and then just running through everything for game with piercing damage. It's still pretty good. I'm actually just going to do the bold take and go potential. Do I think it's straight Rogue? Yes. Do I think it has potential to move up to like tier 2? Yeah. Tier 1, we'll see. We'll see how much cooking happens in the near future for that. Real hot take. Really, really hot take. So, we'll go Birds. Birds is tier 1 right now. I hate to say it. It's still good. It's been good for a while. Birds still do bird things. Granted, it didn't make top 32 for like the YCS or whatever, but this deck has a very high representation. Hell, I even played against that deck too. And it does a lot of things still. It still shifters people. It still featherstorms people. Dreaming Town's still a thing. It is still definitely a tier 1 deck in the right hands. I've met players who suck with this deck, and I've met players who are just insane. Alright, so let's talk about Brandon. This is Brandon's pure. I want to say Brandon's still pretty good right now. The representation's low, but I'm still going to call it a tier 1. It's ran as live chorus. If their main deck is super potly, they're in a good spot. Granted, you know, Rescue Ace eats up a lot of the decks right now, but it is still a very, very good deck in the right hands, just like most of these decks on this list, right? But you get the point. You get the point where I'm getting at, though. Alright, so Labyrinth. Labyrinth is easily a tier 1 deck. I don't care what anyone says. This deck puts in the work. Everyone says Butler is bad. Anyone who says Butler's bad has never actually played Labyrinth before, or they think that this one card doesn't break the deck. Y'all are wrong. You've heard of turn 0 Erad. Labyrinth already was able to do that before. Now they can do it with even less resources because of Butler. Labyrinth is probably the I want to say, the strongest control deck in the format right now. Or should I say trap deck? I mean, trap deck means that that implies there's more than one right now, and let's face it, it's the only trap deck in the format right now. Still very good. Still uses skill drain. Still uses lady. Uses karma cannon. All the good stuff. It's all the good stuff. All right. So let's go to dragons. All right, I'll elaborate a little bit on dragons because I play dragons as well. I'm cooking with something else right now, but dragons, based off my personal opinion, it is good, but it is tier 2. It puts out it puts out a lot of good stuff, right? But it seems like it struggles in this current format. Still loses to a lot of stuff, like most stuff does, and I want to say it's mid. It's mid-rangey. It's mid. It doesn't do enough. Like, most of the time, you need to clear board and kill someone, because if there's a clapback against dragons, it usually kind of sucks unless dragons has the loaded graveyard and everything else is already set up. Tier 2, some hiccups. Still loses to, like, Nib, kind of. Droll, usual stuff. Alright, Unchain. Unchain, single-handedly. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put just Unchain. Went from, as soon as Age came out, Unchained went from being like the best deck through Dueling Nexus to damn near potential. I say that very boldly too. I don't care. It's obviously in front of Scareclaw. I'll give you all that. But Unchained right now, since we're rolling into a graveyard format where everyone's playing Abyss Dweller and Tears back and Rescue Ace is the thing, Unchained does not do very good. Because it targets, it destroys, which means it's bad for tier, and it trades good with like certain decks, but since tier creeped back into the format, it's not a very good choice because most of the time you're gonna run like tier, you're gonna run the birds. It kind of trades well with birds. It just depends. All right, so we're gonna go Runic. Pure Runic is straight rogue, but hear me out. Runic actually cooks tier elements. Because what better way to deal with tier than just to banish all their stuff? And it works. I personally play Runic Chimera as one of my decks. I've done that matchup already. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It just depends. A lot of factors. But as long as they don't have Mud Dragon, you're basically good to go. You stop them from getting in the Mud Dragon. But outside of like a couple good matchups, pure Runic is a straight rogue. Runic Chimera is potential or good, decent tier 2. I didn't decide to make a picture with them both because there was no point. I'm going to talk about the decks together separately anyways. Okay, Manium. Manium is best deck. I'm sorry. It's really good. I don't care what y'all think. It is one of the best decks. It is, in my opinion, up there next to Rescue Ace. It puts out crazy boards. It does a lot of crazy stuff. I called this a long time ago when I first started playing Manium, but I also said the same thing about Labyrinth. If you guys look at the previous videos, I said Manium was going to be the best deck. I also said Labyrinth was going to be one of the best decks too. Granted, this was prior to like all their support. Manium I called like a while ago too, that it was going to eventually be in that spot. But here we are. Manium is definitely up there. It does crazy things. Anyone who's played Manium before, they understand the lines. Getting that new level 4, that's another Vices, just cracks this deck. I've turned it into a one-card combo deck. It's crazy. This deck puts up insane boards. You could go the Christia route. You could go the pure, just put hella shit on the board, hella synchros, put out like an 8-9 board and sit on like an Appaloosa. And you can do a lot of crazy stuff with this. Alright, so let's go Chimera. Chimera right now is definitely tier 2. And this is like, I'll talk about Chimera, Branded Chimera, and Runic Chimera. Runic Chimera, if this was Runic Chimera, it'd be a potential. Like, it has some stuff, it can do some things. There's a lot of draw power behind it. It's pretty strong. But, that implies like you have Runic Engine, you're slowing them down with that to outpace them with your Chimera engine. Now, Branded Chimera is more of like a tier 1 deck right now, in my opinion. It does a lot of crazy stuff. Needs a good player behind it, but it's pretty strong. It's pretty strong, guys. But, and then Chimera by itself, Chimera by itself would be potential. Pure Chimera does not do much, and it needs another engine to play with it in order for it to be good. That being said, let's talk about the last thing on... There you go, I fixed it. The last thing on the list. Pearly. Pearly right now is, unfortunately, I would also consider this as a best deck right now, because Noir is pretty annoying, and it just does a lot of fuck shit. No one likes a 10-mat Zeus to deal with. You have to hit the cards early. You got to clear out their whole field. The clapback on Pearly is very hard if you clear the field. Do I think it's better than Rescue Ace? No. Do I think it's better than Manium? If it goes first, maybe, but that depends if they set on a huge fat Nor, and then they can stop. They can spin back like, I don't know, 4 cards. If they can do that, then yeah. But no, don't think so. But outside of that, this is all I got for you guys right now. I plan to do more content like this. I've just been very busy with my personal life and stuff, and I plan to get the team on here a lot more, more people involved and get more voiced opinions and whatnot. I always try to do that, and hell, so I'll even put fans on here, put their behalf on here as well, guys. So if you're someone who subscribes to the channel and you want to be a part of the Discord and be a part of some of the team stuff, be on YouTube and everything, I'm totally down. We can do this. But that being said, that is all I got for you guys. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Chainlink. Check them out. Chainlink TCG. Really, really, really good people. I actually got to meet them at YCS. And promo code for them, it's chainlinktcg.square.site. It's weird, but I promise it's a real site. And then Dueling Guard, Chainlink's promo code is Team Extra in all capitals. Save 10% at checkout. And then Dueling Guards is... It's just Team Extra, capital T, capital X, save 5% at checkout for them. Go check them out, guys. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks for watching.